What's up, guys? Welcome back to the 13th episode of the Trackside Girls podcast, season 3. We're gonna jump right into it. Um, there are quite a bit of races to go over. Um, which an extra one that I kind of forgot about. Um, uh, Miami was a sprint weekend. And I didn't realize it until they were literally out for sprint qualifying. We'll go backwards this time. We'll do F1, IndyCar, then NASCAR. Um,
Solid.
just because for Formula One and IndyCar, we're just doing like quick little speed recaps. Um,
Nope.
for Miami's one practice session, fastest overall was Oscar Piastri, with Charles Leclerc in second, and third fastest was Max Verstappen. For sprint qualifying, out in SQ1 was Oliver Behrman. Gabriel, still have no, I still have no idea how to say his last name. Yuki Tsunoda, Jack Doohan, and Lance Stroll. In SQ2, it says that the Carlos Sainz had a DNF, so I'm not exactly sure if he wrecked or what, but he finished SQ2 with a DNF. Liam Lawson in 14th, Pierre Gasly, Esteban Ocon, and Nico Hulkenberg. The lineup for the top 10, Fernando Alonso in 10th, Isaac Hadjar, Alex Albon, Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc, George Russell, Max Verstappen, Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, and a maiden pole for the youngest driver on to get a pole in Formula One. Kimi Antonelli got the sprint pole. In the sprint, the results were Oscar Piastri in second, with Lando Norris taking that top spot. But it was a McLaren 1-2, with Lewis Hamilton in third. And there was 3 DNFs in the sprint race. Those being Charles Leclerc, Carlos Sainz, and Fernando Alonso. For regular qualifying, for Grand Prix qualifying, um, Oliver Behrman in 20th, Lance Stroll, Pierre Gasly, Fernando Alonso, and Nico Hulkenberg. Out in Q2, Liam Lawson, Jack Doohan, Gabriel, Lewis Hamilton, Isaac Hadjar. The top 10, Yuki Tsunoda, Esteban Ocon, Charles Leclerc, Alex Albon, Carlos Sainz, George Russell, Oscar Piastri, Kimi Antonelli, Lando Norris, and it was Max Verstappen to get pole for the Grand Prix. For the race, there were 4 DNFs of Jack Doohan, Oliver Behrman, Gabriel, and Liam Lawson. Lance Stroll, oh my gosh, Fernando Alonso, and Nico Hulkenberg finished the race 1 lap down. It was a McLaren 1-2, Oscar Piastri winning the Grand Prix, Lando Norris in second, with George Russell in third. Lando Norris got the fastest lap. Fastest pit stop was Kick Sauber. Okay. And the driver of the day was Oscar Piastri. So, for the IndyCar weekend, down at Barber, for fastest in practice was Marcus Ericsson. Fastest in practice 2 was David Malukas. For qualifying, um, out of Group 1 that moved on to round 2 was Alex Blow, Scott McLaughlin, Marcus Armstrong, Pato O'Ward, Nolan Siegel, and Will Power. Out of Group 2, it was Colton Herta, Joseph Newgarden, Christian Lundgaard, Kiffin Simpson, Renus VK, and Louis Foster. Moving on to the Fast Six, was Will Power, Alex Palou, Colton Herta, Scott McLaughlin, Renus VK, and Nolan Siegel. And the one to get pole was Alex Palou, Scott McLaughlin starting second, and Colton Herta starting third. Fastest in warm-up was Alex Palou. And for the race, again, Alex Palou topping the timesheets by winning another race with 81 laps led. Christian Lundgaard in second, and Scott McLaughlin in third, leading 3 laps. And the other 6 laps went to Marcus Armstrong of laps led. Now on to the NASCAR weekend. Is going to be a little more in depth because we actually have like a play-by-play of like each race. All right, for the truck race at Texas, qualifying was canceled due to rain. So they scheduled a competition caution around lap 20. Because qualifying was canceled, it was Tyler Ankrum to get pole, Daniel Hemrick on the outside. The first caution was the competition caution, again, lap 20. On the restart, it was Tyler Ankrum on the inside, Lane Riggs on the outside. First caution for Cause was lap 31. Gio Ruggiero clips the front stretch grass for the second time and slams into Caden Honeycutt. Entering turn 1, Stuart Friesen and Brandon Jones also receive heavy damage.
I did see that.
Yeah, that
That
was
was a lot.
wild.
That was the last thing I actually remember before I just knocked out, apparently. But I do remember seeing that because I was like, what the heck actually just happened?
So, after that incident, they do have a couple green flag laps until the end of the stage where Grant Enfinger takes the stage win. Matt Mills in second, Matt Crafton in third, Daniel Hemrick fourth, and Corey Heim fifth. They get restarted again, Grant Enfinger on the inside, Matt Crafton on the outside. The next caution for Cause was lap 52. Lane Riggs spins in turn 2 after contact from Ty Majeski. And on this restart, Corey Heim leading Grant Enfinger on the outside. On the restart, Andreas Perez de Lara spins after contact with Nick Sanchez and backs into the wall. They restart again, Corey Heim on the inside, Grant Enfinger on the outside. And a couple laps later, they have another caution for the front stretch grass. Lane Riggs spins into the front stretch grass after contact with Luke Finhouse, suffering heavy damage to the nose of his car, not his actual nose. The restart again, Corey Heim on the inside, Grant Enfinger on the outside. And it was Corey Heim to win stage 2. Chandler Smith in second, Grant Enfinger third, Daniel Hemrick fourth, and Stuart Friesen fifth. This restart, it is Ty Majeski on the inside, Carson Hocevar this time on the outside, who was running the 07 truck? Was he in the 7 or the '07? Um, but they are green until lap 147. Frankie Muniz makes hard contact with the wall between turns 1 and 2. They restart again. Corey Heim leading on the inside, Grant Enfinger on the outside. They have a caution the next lap later. Stuart Friesen gets loose inside Grant Enfinger, battling for second, and both crash into the outside wall. Chandler Smith also gets collected. So they do end up having to throw a red flag for debris cleanup. It lasted 4 minutes and 54 seconds. On the restart, um, Corey Heim on the inside, Ben Rhodes on the outside. Again, the next lap later, Jake Garcia and Connor Mozak crash in turn 2. Restart again, Corey Heim inside, Ben Rhodes outside. And they have to throw another caution on this restart for Matt Mills, who clipped the front stretch grass. Restart again, Corey Heim on the inside, Ben Rhodes on the outside. And Corey Heim wins in Texas by 0.279 seconds over Daniel Hemrick. So this is a special paint scheme. More it I don't know if they're gonna continue running it or not, but it was part of the safe light safe 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 light
Safe light.
foundation with foster children. So they did this special paint scheme. Um, so it looks like this potential one-off paint scheme could be getting a die cast because of Corey Haim's win in this particular truck. So, but
I want to see. I want to see if they might run it again.
I am not quite sure. Obviously
Hmm.
that is his primary sponsor. Um,
Yeah.
so
I
it
don't
is
know.
very possible that they end up running that scheme again, but who knows? All right. On to the Xfinity race. Joey Gates to the rear for unapproved adjustments. It was Austin Hill um, on pole, Justin Allgaier on the outside. Um, Ryan Ellis spins entering turn 3 after contact with Christian Eckes, but does not make wall contact. Josh Bilicki spins off of turn 4 as well. Dean Thompson makes wall contact off of turn 4. All in the first lap. Um, they restart. Um, Justin Allgaier leading Austin Hill on the outside. Sammy Smith taps the back of Leyland Honeyman, which causes him to spin and hit Nick Leitz, who also spins after having a gear issue on the restart. It already started off very chaotic.
On a whole note, Jesse just announced that he's racing at Kansas in the Cup.
So I think I knew that because I know Jordan, his social
Yeah.
media
Yeah.
person, and
Holy
she
no,
kept
I just
she kept saying that she was going to Kansas, and I'm like, but Xfinity doesn't run Kansas. Why is she going to Kansas?
solid. Because Jesse's racing Cup, that's why.
Well,
Yeah.
hey, then I guess I'll see her there.
It
Um,
makes sense.
but um, the restart, Justin Allgaier on the inside, Austin Hill on the outside. Lap 21, Josh Bilicki spins from 30th after contact with Leland Honeyman, and they decided that that would be their competition caution. Um, the restart, Justin Allgaier on the inside, Austin Hill on the outside. They are green until the end of the stage, where Justin Allgaier takes stage one, Kyle Larson second, Nick Sanchez third, Austin Hill fourth, and Sam Mayer fifth. Let's see the restart, Austin Hill on the inside, Brandon Jones on the outside. And they are green until lap 88, where Chris Wright spins down the backstretch. And this ends stage two under caution, where Austin Hill takes the stage, Justin Allgaier second, Sheldon Creed third, Nick Sanchez fourth, and Sam Mayer fifth. On the restart, Austin Hill on the inside, Justin Allgaier on the outside. After Sheldon Creed chooses to restart behind Austin Hill. Just past the start-finish line, Riley Herbst, Corey Day, Sam Mayer, and Taylor Gray all make contact. Josh Williams gets spun from 15th. Behind them in collects Catherine Legg, Mason Massey, Garrett Smithley, Anthony Alfredo, Ryan Ellis, and Josh Balicki. They restart again. Austin Hill on the inside, Justin Allgaier on the outside. Sheldon Creed spins while battling for third after contact with Jesse Love and Corey Day and hits the inside wall. This restart, Justin Allgaier leads Austin Hill on the outside. And the next caution for cause is lap 156. Justin Allgaier closes in on Chris Wright, who is a lapped car. Both make contact and spin down the front stretch. On this restart, Kyle Larson on the inside, Nick Sanchez on the outside. Lap 188, Corey Day spins and hits the tire barriers on the inside of turns 3 and 4. Restart again, Austin Hill on the inside, Nick Sanchez on the outside. Jeremy Clements bounces off of turn 2, continues slowly. Sammy Smith slaps the wall off of turn 4 while running 5th to bring out the caution. This brought them into overtime. The first overtime restart, Sam Mayer is leading Nick Sanchez on the outside. Jeremy Clements spins in turn 2, making heavy contact with the outside wall. Sam Mayer is listed as the leader at the time of caution, followed by Kyle Larson. The second overtime restart, Kyle Larson just runs away with it. Again, Kyle Larson was in the 88 rather than the normal like 17 that he would normally drive if he was running Xfinity. He was in for Connor Zilich, and this is apparently the first time that Kyle Larson is not won with either HendrickCars.com or Valvoline on the car
What? Didn't know
as
that.
primary.
Hmm.
That's just what I heard. I don't know if that's like accurate or not, but like, or at least after he's come back, you know?
I mean, it could be true because he's either in those two cars.
So, but he won over Taylor Gray by 1.265 seconds. As for the Cup race, Carson Hocevar got pole, William Byron on the outside. The first caution for cause was Noah Gragson gets sideways and has a long slide in turn two while attempting to pass Daniel Suarez. On the restart, Austin Cindric leads Josh Berry on the outside. It is green until lap 75. Denny Hamlin, who has been slowing and smoking, suddenly catches fire as the engine expires between turns one and two. Like, that's straight up, like, in flames. Like, as soon as he
It,
stopped the car, it, like, engulfed. Like,
I was in the kitchen and then I came out because I could see in the microwave that there was a caution and I'm like, what the heck is a caution for? And at first I didn't know that it was Denny Hamlin. I was like, who just straight up just blew up? And then I was like, oh, it's Denny. I didn't know who it was.
but with that caution, um, the stage ends under caution, where Austin Cindric takes the stage win, followed by Tyler Reddick, Josh Berry, Kyle Larson, and Chris Buescher. So it is Josh Berry leading on the inside, Austin on the outside. Um, on this restart, Chase Briscoe gets high in turn four and spins, clipping Riley Herbst. Restart again, Josh Berry on the inside, Kyle Larson on the outside. And lap 125, Josh Berry spins from the lead off of turn four and makes contact with the wall. The restart, Todd Gilliland on the inside, Kyle Larson on the outside. They have to throw a caution for lap 162 because of the debris from Chris Buescher having a flat tire. And again, under this caution, the stage ends with Kyle Larson taking the stage. Tyler Reddick, Alex Bowman, Ryan Preece, and Bubba Wallace round out the top five in this stage. So, the restart, William Byron on the inside, Chase Elliott on the outside. Bubba Wallace bounces off the turn two wall, then spins down the backstretch, triggering a multi-car accident with AJ Allmendinger, Alex Bowman, Noah Gragson, and Chad Fincham. Restart again, same front row. And lap 219, caution for Jesse Love spinning down the backstretch and hits the inside wall. The restart, it is Kyle Larson on the inside, Michael McDowell on the outside. Caution for Kyle Busch spinning in turn four, backs into the wall, and just barely Ricky Stenhouse misses Kyle Busch and takes it through the infield grass. On the restart, Kyle Larson leading Michael McDowell on the outside. A couple laps later, Ryan Preece and Carson Hocevar make contact off of turn two. Ryan Preece bouncing off the wall, both spin down the backstretch with Cody Ware getting spun into the inside wall as well. Restart again, Kyle Larson on the inside, Michael McDowell on the outside. A couple laps later, caution for Brad Keselowski spinning off of turn two, triggering a multi-car crash. Ty Dillon hits and spins Cole Custer. Kyle Busch, Austin Cindric also collected. I was RIP, my boy. Um, on the restart, Michael McDowell leading Ryan Blaney this time on the outside. Um, the next lap later, caution Tyler Reddick gets clipped by Daniel Suarez and slides through turn one. Michael McDowell declared leader. Ryan Blaney on the outside. Um, Caution for Michael McDowell crashing off turn two while running third. This pushes them into overtime. Joe Logano leading on the inside, Ryan Blaney on the outside, and it is Joey Logano winning by 0.346 seconds over Ross Chastain. So apparently this is the first win that Joey has gotten in the AAA insurance car. He's had them as a sponsor for like 14 years, and apparently this is the first time that he's ever won in that paint scheme.
I mean, I feel like that probably sounds about right because he normally only wins in the Pennzoil.
Yeah.
So, whatever.
But so those were the races for the weekend. We let's see. Formula One has the weekend off. Um, let's see. IndyCar. Yes. So IndyCar is doing so how they do it, it's one race in Indy, and then the next weekend you have Indy qualifying, and then you have the Indy 500. So they have like a little they have a Grand Prix like race like before Indy 500 qualifying. Just I guess just to get people ready for Indy, I guess. I'm not exactly sure. Um,
Get people ready.
so that is happening on the 10th of this weekend. Um, so don't and they actually run this one on the road course rather than the oval. So I guess that's another difference between the two. Um, so part of um, so they do the road course, they do Indy qualify or Indy 500 qualifying, and then the 500. So like it's a span over 3 weekends. Um, the past 2 years, Alex Below has won it. I feel like that's a pretty solid choice. Trying to think of other like more road course oriented. Um, I would say possibly Colton Herta. I don't know if he does well at at the road course or not, but I think I think that might be who I go with. Actually, Colton Herta won it in 22. Oh, so I'll go Colton Herta and hmm, you know, Nolan Siegel has been fast.
I was kind of eyeballing him.
Like
How is
he's been fast.
he looks like a child.
He basically is.
Uh,
So those are my picks for Indy.
yeah, oh god. Okay. Who'd you say?
I said Colton Herta and Nolan Siegel.
Okay, well, this is rough. I'm gonna say Nolan, and we're just gonna go with Alex below.
Okay, fair. All right. So it is only trucks and Cup at Kansas this weekend. For the trucks lineup, it is Brandon Jones in the 1, Nathan Bird in the 0-2, Cody Dennison in the 2, William Byron in the 0-7, Carson Hocevar in the 7, um, Morgan Bard in the 22. I think that's how you say that. Luke Baldwin in the 66. Mm, I think. Um, who won Kansas last year? Was it Christian?
Pretty sure it was Christian and then Corey, but hang on. Hang on. Oh no. Corey won Kansas.
Okay.
He won Kansas both times.
Oh, okay.
I feel like that's a solid choice, Corey.
Yeah. I I'm gonna throw out a Connor Mozak.
The very first time I met Connor was after the ARCA race at Kansas.
Yeah, I'm gonna
That is
do
the one and only time.
I'm gonna do a Connor Mozak, and I feel like a William Byron.
Oh god.
Just because, like
If he
you
wins,
can't
I will
not.
grab. If he wins, I will ask someone to physically shoot me, and then that'll be the end. I feel like I'm gonna go with Corey Haim because it's like the most obvious choice
Fair.
besides William Byron. But um, and I'm gonna say I'm gonna do a Tanner because he normally runs good.
Okay. Sorry, I'm looking at the cup lineup. So we have Jesse Love in the 33. We have Corey Heim in the 67.
I'm gonna go cry.
Was that already announced, or is that like just crazy?
Corey hasn't posted anything about him racing.
Like it's right here on the entry list.
Yeah, I know.
And I know this has to be an updated one because it has the 60 for Ryan Preece. So it's not that like how he ran like
Hang
that
on.
the cup race last year.
Hang on. No, Corey hasn't posted anything. And neither has 2311.
Did NASCAR out their out their
I
plans?
think, I think NASCAR outed them. I'm like, because if that's the case, Corey would have already posted on his Instagram story and he would have been tagged in 2311's post.
Yeah,
Way to go, NASCAR. You outed 2311 because Corey's racing cup there. Cool. Because, yeah, and,
that's crazy. Oh gosh, I didn't even
and,
pick yet. I was sitting here thinking I was done. I'm dumb. Oh gosh.
I
I'm
mean, technically, all his Bob posted was the entries for Kansas, and it says 33 Love and 67 Heim.
okay.
But
I'm gonna I'm gonna go with Tyler Reddick. I'm gonna go with Tyler Reddick. Mm. Honestly, I'm I'm gonna try Carson because he's had a lot of speed lately.
I know. I know. I feel like you and I keep switching back and forth literally between Carson because I'm like, Carson, it was like the same way with you and I switching back and forth between Brandon Jones because we're
Yeah,
like, literally, he will get a win. And Carson is so close. And Carson normally runs good at Kansas.
yeah. So we shall see. Okay,
Now I
what are your
feel like
picks?
that's a great question that I don't know. It's a a very great question. I feel like, you know what, I'm gonna say Alex
Fair.
because he he's good. And I don't think I've said his name at all this year. I'm gonna go with a tie.
Gibbs?
Gibbs.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like
You
he's
haven't really
finding his
seen much of him lately?
I know. It's like either Briscoe, well, mostly Briscoe, because normally Briscoe's the one running up front. Yeah. You know what? That's what I'll say. I'll say Alex and Ty.
Okay. All right. That is it for our weekend. Picking who we think is gonna win races. Um, so I think that's it. Was there any? Honestly, I think a lot of times we've like given up on the actual um
Like news.
news
I think the
because
only thing I know is Max and Kelly had their baby,
yes. Um
and Max missed media.
yes, so Max missed media day. Um it was a little girl, if you didn't know. Her name is Lily.
I feel like that goes together, Penelope and Lily.
Yeah. Um but yep. I think
That's like about the
s
only news that I know.
so something that happened in Indy Next. So one, they brought on Tim Cindric as an analyst to call the race.
Oh yeah.
And they had a little segment where they recorded Austin talking to him, like just like giving him advice and stuff um for having to call the race because Austin has done that in the truck series. Um and I think actually maybe even in the Xfinity series, I don't know. But I know for sure the truck series and ARCA. So like Austin knows what to do on the broadcast. Um but that wasn't even what I was going to talk about. So from St. Pete, after the end of the race, um, Jack William Miller, I want to say he drives the 40, um, got hit with like major penalties, for essentially they called it like behavioral issues. I think he had just had like a lot of profanity against the stewards. So
I mean,
so they penalized him for this past weekend at Barber. So that was just a little update on that one. But I think that is it from us. So we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. And thank you guys for watching. Thanks for listening. However, you enjoy our lovely podcast. This has been episode 13, season 3. Yeah, you got it.
yeah.
Um, we're gonna start this up again. Lakota's gonna guess which side.
I have to remember it's literally the left side. I have to do it backwards, but
Yeah.
in my I have to do it backwards to you, but it's right to me, the way that my camera is.
Oh, yep, because it flips.
Yeah.
Um, but we're gonna do this outro. All right, you ready?
Let's do it.
Okay. It goes peace, love, and race cars. Oh, we got a new one.
It's Todd's Pickles.
Oh, so um, I don't know if we're gonna do any content, but we'll find out. But if you don't know, I'm going to Kansas. I will be working the race for the publication, and then obviously Lakota lives in Kansas, so she always goes to Kansas. Um, so we might you might see some stuff on socials. We'll find out. So all right,
Yep.
all right. Peace out.
Ish.